He's been very sure that he's the master of his own destiny from an early age. Why do I say this? How many teenage boys do you know who, after spending 2 weeks in fifth form, would present himself to the vice principal's office and request that he be made to repeat fourth form? It's clear that my guest deliberately, carefully chooses a path for himself. After wearing his locks for over 12 years, he cut them off. One could say that there seems to be a new, deeper spiritual awakening for him. Prior to removing his locks, Wayne Marshall, yes, it is Wayne Marshall, released Glory to God. That may have caught most people by surprise, but his absence from the music scene could have been viewed as a smoke signal. Good evening. I am Fae Ellington. This is Profile. Wayne Marshall, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you.
This song has been making waves. What inspired it?
I would have to say it's my deepest inspiration, the source that I've always tried to tap into, to be creative, to try to find a song that has never been written. The deepest part of my soul is where this came from. I remember being there one night, just listening to rhythms, and that rhythm came up, and it was just overwhelming. The emotion that I was feeling was just overwhelming, kind of like how I feel now. And I mean, the tears, and I could actually see the song and feel the song. And I literally said to myself, or I said to God, I said, God, I'm me for sing this song. Because it was almost like the power that was within the song was revealed to me at that time. And you know, when you get that confirmation, you get that nudge that says, yes, yes, of course, it's you I delivered this song to, it's you, you know? And I just continued to let my emotion pour out, you know, and the song was writing itself, basically.
Where were you when you were writing this song?
I was actually in my living room, just sitting down on the couch, but I had my headphones on, and it was in the wee hours of the morning. It was about 3:30, going 4.
You're just there by yourself?
I was just there by myself. That's where the most potent inspiration is for me. It is not when the clamoring or the noise. It's just me. And I mean, so much so that in my meditative state, I'm outside just by myself in the silence, and then Tammy would say, Wayne, come in, what are you doing out here? And then to me, I'm just like, wow, I was right on the brink of getting that super spiritual inspiration, that jolt of that, you know, that goodness. But then nobody really knows, because it's really silent time where I find the most wisdom.
What did you find first, the melody or the words?
The melody and the words came together. So some songs, the melody come, and then you try to decipher what this melody is trying to say. But this was different. It came as a download. The chorus itself came as a full download. And that's why I could easily differentiate this song from the rest of songs that I did. Not necessarily this in the sense that I've never gotten a full word and melody download, but this was just different because of this.
I just love your term. It came as a download. You get that?
Yeah.
So you have to understand you're working with the now generation.
Yeah.
It came as a package, as a download.
Yeah. No.
When you shared it with Tammy, what did she say?
When I first shared it with her, she was taken aback because it was so gospel. So she was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But then you could tell that it was something that moved her, you know. And when I played it for her dad, I can remember it like it was yesterday. He teared up and he said, let me tell you, my son, there is no man, woman, or child that can stop this song from going across the globe. And I literally in that moment now, you just feel those goosebumps and you feel the spirit come over you. I don't know what to call it, if it's the spirit of God, I don't know what to call it, but I know that that is what I yearn for. That is my confirmation that God is smiling down, that my source is happy with what is taking place.
And let me just say that the Tammy to whom I made reference is Tammy Chin, and she's Wayne Marshall's wife. How long have you been married?
We've been married for 9 years now.
We're going to get back to that later on.
9 years.
You've been going through a spiritual journey.
Yes.
You never came to a place and said, this is it, I have arrived.
No.
What has happened to you in the last 5 years?
In the last 5 years, I have cultivated a relationship with the voice in my head, working tediously at diminishing the ego. Right now, my ego is on life support. So what I'm left with is just that voice of clarity in my mind. I am trying to relinquish all of those negative vibrations. I am just trying to zone in on that clarity, that wisdom, that universal source.
Was there an event that may have pushed you in that direction?
Well, I couldn't say there's one event. There have been several events, you know, because every time I let go and follow that voice that I have been cultivating the relationship with, magical things follow. Not just ordinary stuff, like real miraculous stuff in a sense. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, not supernatural, but to me, miraculous in a sense where how the things connect and how symmetric everything is and how purposeful it is, you know, to manifesting my ultimate dream for myself and my destiny.
What's your ultimate dream for you?
Oh, wow. My ultimate dream is to be a creator, be an innovator that inspires and uses what I have to bring forth the goodness of God on earth. Because I feel that's what we're here to do.
You've spoken about God, not just since we've been seated here, but in other interviews. What does God mean to Wayne Marshall?
Well, I don't even like to put it into words, because to me, it's so expansive. The idea of this source, this creative source that is outside our realm, outside space and time, the beginning, the ending, and everything in between all at once, it's hard to really put it into like a word. So I feel like once I try to start to define it, I kind of I might be wrong. I might just be wrong.
You just experienced all these things.
But I know, I acknowledge fully that there is a creative intelligence behind all of life. That to me is no doubt, no. So instead of believing, which I believe, I think that belief and doubt is cousin. So I prefer to say that I know that God exists. I know that there's an intelligence behind our life. And I know that we have a Father that owns everything. And once we are right with Him, He will give us.
You know, we're going to be taking a break shortly. And perhaps after the break, you can share with us this transformation that you've been going through. Took you to the place where you took your locks off. Yes. And I'm curious to find out if your locks happen to have been part of the manifestation of a religious belief, or if it was part of being an entertainer, and where did you get to why you said it's time for the locks to go right after the break? Is that okay with you?
No problem. No problem.
Wayne Marshall is my guest, and things happen in people's life as we take our journeys, and sometimes we do not ourselves know what will be next on the path. We are hearing more about Wayne Marshall from him telling his story. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. And can I tell you how happy I am to have Wayne Marshall as my guest, and that song that we played at the start of the program? Wow. I gather that it's just popular all over.
Yes. Why,
graduating classes used it as well?
Yes. Quite a few graduation classes used it as their song. So, I mean, people are finding inspiration in it. In the dance halls, it's playing. In the churches, I must say, like,
so Wayne, there are people who say that music really doesn't affect anybody, and you know it can't affect young people. But I'm quite certain you would like to say to the contrary.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as early as I can remember, music has had deep impacting thing on me. And I remember listening to Bob Marley, Buffalo Soldier, and just being totally spooked out. I said, what kind of song this like? Why am I 6, 7 years old and feeling so much emotion through the music? I literally used to think, wow, like why is it? And then from that point on, I knew that music was much more than just melody and words. You could paint pictures, you could inspire, you could uplift, you could heal through the music, and I knew that from a very tender age. So when I came into music, that was always my aspiration, to reach to a level, evolve to a level where I could do music that could actually impact people, uplift.
So you never did any vulgar things? Any music that was...
I wouldn't say vulgar. My mother would have probably said me do a couple boogie yaga, yes, but it's not anything that I couldn't stand up to.
Okay.
It was always maintain that integrity because I come from good home. And I was not going to make my mother hear anything that she would have said that would make her feel, wow, where did I go wrong, Or this is not the way, and I know. It would always have to be something that I could stand up behind,
Okay.
So, yeah, I always try to maintain.
Let's talk about the locks. Why did you start growing locks? What did the locks represent, and why did you take them off?
Well, initially, I really felt a connection to the Rastafari movement. When I say Rastafari, I don't mean Rastafari as one word. Rastafari. So Selassie, right? I read a book, and the book just impacted me. I was just like, whoa, what a human being like this. Listen to his perspective on education, listen to his perspective on morality, so you could tell that this man was definitely a cut above the human race. So I felt aligned to it in a sense, but then quickly I started to explore other great books, other great, spiritual understandings, and then basically the locks became just here for me, just like how anybody would grow their hair.
It wasn't part of a religious belief?
No, I would not say that. No, you've never really, you can't find any footage of me saying, Jah Rastafari, you know what I mean? That was not, I was not, because my thing is, my conviction is based on facts. And if I don't know this as a fact, it's hard for me to put everything I have behind it. So I've always been the man to seek. I feel like the biggest danger in the world is not the asking of questions, but the assumption that we have all the answers. I know I will not have all the answers to my dying day.
You didn't see Selassie as God?
No. I saw him as somebody who definitely tapped into the source. Basically, that's not true. But I see every man as a version of God.
I get you.
As parts of the whole.
I get you.
So he's just one God that tapped in. And here I am. And I encourage others to be their own God. We have the truth is within and the power is within. And here it is, before I even go any further, I have to acknowledge this moment as a manifestation of my God. And I've seen myself in this chair. I've seen Ian Bowen, maybe not you, but I've seen myself in this profile chair. And here it is, it's manifesting now like, wow, this is magic for me. And sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, wow, is this real?
It is.
Is this real? It is. And
why you took off the locks, Wade?
Well, I just felt it was time for a change. I felt that it was time for a change. I laid my dad to rest, and I was going through so many transitions spiritually, emotionally, socially, financially, and I just felt, okay, it's time now. It's not something that happened just on an impulse, something that I was giving thought to. So I just felt, no, this is the moment, let's go, let's do it. And sometimes I feel we ask the source, we ask our creator for all this, for all this change, for all this new, setting up a new thing. But then we in the earthly realm are so reluctant to change things, and so we're so afraid of what may be the outcome. But most times, the real thing is in the unknown.
Indeed.
So sometimes
what has the reaction been?
Oh gosh, everybody else said, I'm going to take off about 10 years off of me and look like young boy. What if me lick off the beard and gone back to Woolmans?
When Tammy saw you without your locks, what was her first response? Tammy, your wife.
She was just like, wow, I'm used to this already. And myself too, I was just like, I thought that I would take weeks to get used to the idea. And I was just like, what was taking so long? So you see, it's just another example of you have all this fear that it might not be the right thing, it might not be, but then when you do it, it's just like, this is the best thing.
And your mother, Mrs. Mitchell?
Oh gosh, you know what? My mother would encourage me over the years, Wayne, you're not cutting off your hair. So when we cut it off, and what I surprised her. Myself and Asta Carlisle, my brother, and my mom went to dinner, and I didn't tell her. So I just popped up on her, and she said, oh my gosh. She was just like, it was almost like, why did you do that? But then eventually she was just like, but wasn't I encouraging this? So sometimes the change, it takes people aback, but eventually they get used to it.
They get accustomed. You mentioned
to it.
Asta Carlisle, that's Pastor Asta Carlisle.
Yes.
Did he play any role in your life in the last few months or year or whatever? Because
well, not, we're very new friends. New friends, but I can tell from I met him at the hospital when my father was ill, I knew that this is a friend indeed, and this is going to be a lifelong friend. I knew it instantly as soon as I met him. And it's funny because the first prayer that he prayed for us as a family, he said, I'm going to start this prayer by chanting a song that means a lot to me. And he said, Lord, I pray, I honor your name. And he did not miss a note. Yes,
he's a good singer.
He's a very good singer. And he just leaped into prayer, and it was seamless. It didn't seem forced. It just felt like, wow, this song is a prayer.
It is a prayer, and it's a prayer that all of us should be praying in this country, for this country, in our homes. And we thank you so much for allowing God to work through you with this prayer. When we come back, we'll continue our final segment with Wayne Marshall. Thank you so much for staying with us. This is Profile. My guest is Wayne Marshall. And I did say that your song that is impacting so many people, Glory to God, is in fact a prayer. But when I listen to that song, the arrangement, the orchestration, it is just amazing. Yes. Who are the musicians? Who are the, I know your sister-in-law, Tessan, is on it, but who are the others?
Well, the producers are Natural High. Some youngsters, very talented, very, very gifted. They seem beyond their years, you know, Blaze and Jordan. They did the original the beat, you know, and then we called Otniel Lewis, brilliant keyboardist, to kind of accompany it and just put on the little extra spice we need, you know. And that's basically it, you know.
That was it. So you didn't have a drummer then? You used a synthesizer for that?
Yes.
It's
That's
amazing.
That's all Jordan. It's so much so that I had to call them and say, what inspired this rhythm? Was this something that you had before? They said, no, they played this rhythm the very day they sent it to me.
And the group is called Natural
High Productions.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, everything has just come together.
It did. It was divine. It was literally
absolutely
divine. Everything. And when I got the inspiration to do the song, I literally felt the words, don't make it too churchy. So in other words, make it so it can be in the street. The normal man, the normal person can get it, can vibe with it, you know?
It can be played anywhere.
Exactly.
And inspire and pull people together.
Exactly.
Anywhere.
Exactly.
In the song, there's a DJ part. That's what I call it. Yes. Who is that person?
Well, you're really going to call that a DJ?
Yes, I'm calling it a DJ part.
Well, no, so are you making reference to the minister?
Yes.
So that's Minister Ryan Mark.
Yes.
Yes. He's one of my... I call him my best friend. And it's funny because we hadn't connected in like 3-4 years. But when I got the inspiration for Glory to God, we arranged that we'd link up the Friday. So it was the Friday morning that I got the inspiration, and he was already coming. So I decided that I would just go to bed, and when Ryan comes, then we can revisit it, and then he can be there while I'm writing, tell me, you know, inspire words, inspire phrases that would need to make this song even better than it could be just with me alone, you know? So it's funny how that came, the inspiration came when I had this meeting with Ryan the next day. So I just thought that was just divine, the divine telling me that Ryan should be on this track.
Well, there are no coincidences in life, you know?
Absolutely not.
There are no coincidences. As you go forward in your career as a recording artist and a writer, what kind of music do you think will come after Glory to God?
Inspirational music. I do believe that this is just the beginning of it. I always buck up people who say, boy, Wayne, I don't think you can do anything as good as this, but please try. And then I think in my mind, I bet you I can. Because, when people don't know where the source is, that's when it's kind of like a buck up's hit or miss. I know where the source is, so I can go back and say, God, ready again. We need to do this work. We need to do this good work.
What kinds of shows do you see yourself performing on now?
I don't have any limits, because here it was, I was dreaming of getting a good song to come back and hit the place. And I was dreaming here, and God put me way up there. So I stopped trying to define, and I stopped looking for a result per se. I just do the work that the inspiration guides me to, and then I sit back, and then I allow God to do the rest of the work.
You said to come back. You had a break of how long from there?
Oh, for years. I was off of frontline duty, but I think that could be akin to me stepping away from going into fifth form and then stepping out and going back to fourth form. It's kind of like you're in the spotlight and you step out of it, because you have to recalibrate. You have to me, I thought to myself, I have all these friends who are doing masters and this and that, and I want to do my masters in music because this is my choice, this is my career choice. And for me to maintain a life of this, I will have to specialize in it. So I was drawn now like a magnet to the theory of music.
To the theory of music.
Yes.
Wayne, may I ask you a permission? Could we do a part 2 to this? Because you're gone into the theory of music now.
Oh, gosh.
So let us do a part 2.
Oh, gosh.
Thank you so very much.
Yes.
Thank you so very much,
Thank you.
Wayne Marshall.
Thank
We're going to
you.
come back with a part 2, and you wouldn't want to miss that. So next week, please join us, same time, same place for Profile. And my guest will be Wayne Marshall once again. Have a good evening.